So how many employers you would like to speak with. But if you hit that minimum of 3 employers, uh, then you will be automatically entered to the draw for the virtual job and volunteer fair. And we also have a how-to video that you can watch. So if you want to see a step-by-step, a full-on step-by-step, you can also follow this video, or you can refer back to this webinar since this will be recorded as well. One thing I want to share as well is virtual career fair resources. These are all actually posted in Career Connection through the resources section within our site. So make sure to, when you click this, it will prompt you to log in to your account, and yeah, you will be able to read articles related to virtual career fair and even other student resources that we have made available already for you. And this one here, this one article here, the day of the event cheat sheet, this is something you don't need to log into. You can simply click on that and you will see this is actually a step-by-step on what you can do, on what to do on the day of the event. So if you, in a way, forgot, how to get to the site and kind of like what steps to take on in order for you to get started on chatting with employers, you can simply go and click on that link and you'll be able to see the cheat sheet that we've provided already, and how to join on queues. But on the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to actually show you how to do it so that it's fairly easy for you on the day of. So what I would suggest going to now is, if you haven't registered yet, you can click on this link. We will change this button as well, and we will say click to the link to enter the event page. But for now, you can just simply click register now, and it should prompt you to the event page. And if you're not logged into Career Connection yet, you will have to log in using, again, your account. But if you're already logged in and you click that link, it will direct you to the main event page for the event. So the chat function will only open, I believe, an hour before the actual event. So right now you can see that there is no chat function available. So that is fine. We will go to a test site later, and we will be able to actually play around and see how you can join queues for a virtual career fair. But before that, I just want to make sure you're aware of the chat profile here. So for if you have already registered, then this is how it would look like. If not, I'll just hit cancel here so that you can see. If you haven't you haven't registered yet, you'll just need to click attend here on the right side here. And as you can see, you cannot change your status at the moment because, again, the chat function will only open an hour before the event starts. So that is not available, but I'll show you later what it would look like. And then it will also ask you to add a resume. So this is the only way that you can pass a resume. So if you have attended in-person career fairs before, I know you can simply go to the employer, talk to the representative, and also pass your resume directly. So in this case, since it's virtual, this is how you can do it, and you can pass the resume, especially if you're specifically looking for a job or a volunteer position. And you can simply just add new, and you will be directed to the document section, the document tab, and you can simply add new and then upload your resume here. You can also upload your cover letters, transcript, and this is just something it will be saved in Career Connection so that in the future, if you apply for a position that requires one of the following, then it's already available here in Career Connection. So let's just go ahead and go back to events again. Actually, you know what? You can simply go back to this one, this page here, and then click that. There you go. So we're back into the event page. And so once you click attend, it's save. There you go. So you see the chat profile. This is the information that employers will see when they're accepting you to your chat. So it is important that you update your student profile and your academic profile. And the way you can do that is by simply going to your account, so my account, and then personal profile, academic profile. So the main part would be the academic profile, where you want to make sure that your academic year is updated, and the program you're in is updated, and so forth, especially if you are applying specifically for an entry level position that is more so related to your program. So if you want to highlight that when you're speaking with employers, definitely make sure to update your profile. But again, I'll go back to the event page, and then we can move on to the employers. So these are all the employers registered for the event uh, on September 22nd. You can go ahead and click store, so that when you hit store or mark interested, you're actually in a way communicating to the employer on the other end that you are interested in speaking with them. And that's a great way to kind of initiate contact and initiate interest prior to the event, so that on the day of the event, the employer is already is aware that, oh, this student have actually showed interest and I'm very looking forward to speaking with this student. So you're already setting up that expectation, that you're already kind of like way ahead of the other students who might not have shown interest with the employer as well. So that's one tip that I would be sharing with you in regards to the features that we have available here. You can also, when you click each of the employers, are able to. So there is a summary, and then their website, if it's provided, is also available. But you can also view their whole profile and see who they are and what they are about. This is going to be really helpful for your research, which is a very important process, so that you're well prepared for the event. And I'm sure Chantal will be um, speaking about this later on as well. But yeah, so most likely the employers will be updating this section. So these are the information that you can see. If there are any jobs or volunteer positions or any positions that they have posted in Career Connection, it will also be highlighted here. If not, most likely it will be on their website already, and that will be, the links will typically be available in this section here. So again, we'll go back to here. So now let's go ahead and play around on the test site that we've created. So if you guys go back again to the event section and go to GRGH 2021 test event, if you click on that, this something is running already. So on the day of the event, once the chat function opens, you will see a new tab called video chats, and this is more so just a record of all the chats that you will be making, or that you have made on the day of the event. So when that happens, so first off, actually, I want to talk about help and information before we even go ahead with doing the chats, because this is very important, especially if you're having some technical difficulties, and let's say you're not able to you cannot log in, or you cannot um, uh, the link is not working. This is the best place to go to, so that you can speak with us, with one of us, and we can help or assist you in getting into the chats or something. So I would suggest copying this actually already and saving it either in your desktop, saving it on your notes or whatever it is. So that way you can just go ahead, and if there's anything wrong, or you're having some issues on the day off, you can just go to this link. And we are using Microsoft Teams as well, same as this one. So if you're very much, it looks like you're very much familiar with Microsoft Teams already. So same process in getting in and out. Um, and that is for the student help desk. So that's for general questions, for assistance in terms of like chatting or questions about employers. If you want to speak with a career coach and you need that extra boost of confidence, you just need that, okay, I don't know where to start. How do I speak with the employer? Like, what questions should I ask? Or just, you want somebody to speak to for support. We have, our amazing career coach, Chantal Rackley, available on the day off as well. And also our coordinator for career development services, Michelle Madison. They will be there to be that moral support that you need for the day of the event. So feel free to reach out to them on the day off. They're very nice, I promise you. And this is the link to get into the virtual career coach session. So these are the two links that I would highly suggest for you to already keep and copy and paste somewhere. Or if not, again, it will be available up here. Now, let's get started with actually how to chat with an employer. So technically, if you go to the employer tab, you will see the list of all the employers attending the event. So again, for the purpose of the test that we're running right now, we only have one available here. But if you click that, and let's say you're ready to go and join the queue, when you click that, so there's two ways you can actually join the queue. You can either simply, if you already done your research and you're kind of like, I'm just ready, you can just simply hit queue here, join queue. And the join queue is doing the one-on-one private chat with employers. So there's actually two ways that you can chat with a representative from these organizations, and this really depends on what is the preference of the organization. So just be aware about that as well, that some of them might actually just go ahead and use their group chat function, and most likely they will specify here that we will only be available through a group chat session or so forth. So be aware of that, because that means it's a different way of communicating with them, right? So meaning you will be asking questions in a group setting, as opposed to doing the queue wherein you will be able to do a one-on-one conversation with that representative for the employers as well. So let's say you do want to go ahead and speak with the representative one-on-one. You will simply have to go and join queue. So click that, and you will see that you will be added into the upcoming video chats. So it says here 1 out of 5. Now, it's not saying that you can only speak to 5 employers or representatives from different organizations. It just means that you can only speak to up to 5 at a time, because again, we don't want to clog the system and have you queue on like 10, 20 employers at the same time. We want to make sure that you have enough time to go back and forth with the employers that you are signing up for the chat. So meaning, once let's say you're queued to 5, and then you already have a conversation with the first one, that will go down to 4 out of 5, and that will allow you to then go back to the employer list and then select another employer that you want to speak with, and then it will just add here on your upcoming video chats. So um, another thing to look at is the estimated wait times. Now, by default, the employers have a 10, some employers can set their chat times between 5 to 15 minutes, but it's not necessarily that it will be, if it's, let's say, by default, a lot of the employers have set it at 10 minutes. It's not going to be 10 minutes at all times. So some conversations might be just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or even less. So your wait time might actually be faster than what is being shown in the system. So be prepared for that. It's, if you see like 60-minute wait times, don't be alarmed that, oh my God, I have to wait for an hour, because it's not going to be the case for the most part. For the most part, so again, some conversations finish quite faster, and so the lineup would actually move faster than what you see on the wait time. So just don't be alarmed when you see that you know it's running a very long wait time, because it's usually not the case. So yeah, we'll ask employer. But if you say for you yourself, you're having a great conversation with the employer, it can go sometimes over 10 minutes, and that is fine as well. It really depends on the flow of the conversation you're having with the representative. So again, just be prepared, and my one big suggestion is to always keep this browser with the chat function, with the page open at all times when you're hopping into the link of the employer. So you just maybe have a side-by-side browser, one for the career connection virtual career fair page, and then one for the video chat platform that is being used by the employer, whether it's Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet. So you'll just have it side by side. So that way you can keep tabs on where you are in the lineup for your other queues. So that's one big tip. And so let's go ahead. And I joined the chat right now. So I can maybe ask, I believe, Aiden, can you accept me to the chat so that we can see what it would look like? Give me one. So let's just wait for Aiden to accept us. So while we're waiting, I'll actually just go ahead and maybe chat. So while you're waiting, let's say you have multiple employers already in the queue that you are in queue with. So you can just again go ahead and browse through the employer list that we have and read more information about the employers. Like you can go to their profile. You can go to their website. There's tons of information available there as well, or you can even look for their jobs if it's already posted as well. So there's some things that you can do same time while you're waiting. I think we're having some technical difficulties. So I'm just going to confirm. Aiden, are we good with the representative?
Sorry, just give me a second here.
No worries. No worries. I guess I'll just take this opportunity to ask if any of you have any questions in terms of like the platform. I can maybe answer them right now.
Michelle, I actually have a question. It's Chantal
Sure.
here.
Hi, Chantal.
Can you upload more than one resume?
Very good question. Well, in the document library, yes, you can upload multiple resumes. If you have hundreds, feel free to upload as many. As you can see here, we have multiple. I have 2 resumes available here on my page. So I guess, you know what, let's go ahead and check it out if that is possible. Because again, I'll go here and I'll just cancel my, and if I click attend, see, yes. So if you upload your resume, and let's say you've tailored your resume depending on, let's say, what position is posted by a specific employer, and you already have set resumes for each of them, then what you can do is label them correctly and upload it onto the Career Connection document page. And once you actually, never mind. You can only upload one at a time, I believe. But you know what? Even so maybe have a general resume set up actually. And then if you do want to relay that information to the specific employers that you want to speak to, when you actually chat with them, you will be able to see the profile of the representative you're speaking to, and then their email address will actually be available at the same time. So there you go. You can simply copy their email address and say, "Can I submit my resume to your email address?" And that would be a great way for you to send a specific resume that's a bit more tailored to that employer. Does that answer your question?
It does, Michelle. In fact, I do talk a little bit about making sure to have a customized resume. So so that's great. And Aiden has said that he's ready to go when you are.
Oh, perfect. So let's go back. Perfect. Okay. So when the employer, so Aiden is acting as the employer for Johan Inc. When you are ready to chat, you can see here that it says ready to chat. So for you, it prompts you to just click on that. Oh, join chat. There you go. Okay, there you go. So this is what you will see when you have been accepted to join the chat. So there is a video chat instruction. So as I mentioned earlier, depending on the preference of the employer, some of them may use Microsoft Teams, some of them might use Zoom. So be prepared on that you might have to switch between platforms. Um, Based on the information we have right now, the most popular chat link that they've been using is either Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So if you're already familiar with that, perfect. That's great. Um, we are going to try our best as well because a lot of employers are still updating their links, so we still don't have a full list of what type of Zoom link or whatever link that these employers will be using. So once we have a bit more information of what they will be using, we'll try our best to create maybe a one pager and send it to all registered students, students and alumni who have registered for the event, so that you have an idea on what it is, what platform they will be using when chatting with you. So let's go ahead. So as I mentioned earlier, when you click this link, which is don't click it right now if you're in the, so when you click it, it will prompt you to a browser, another browser to join the meeting. When that happens, you want to make sure that this is still like you can still see this page because this is kind of like where you would see notifications of if there is another employer ready to chat with you or so forth. So what I would recommend is having, let's say, having your browser here, this side, and then I'll use this as another. Let's say that this is the chat, the chat was made, let's say, so they're using Microsoft Teams, so this would be your Microsoft Team browser, and that way it's just side by side, so you can keep tabs on how long the conversation is going now, and so forth. In the event that you cannot get into the link and you're really having troubles and issues, and it's already been a minute or 2 minutes or so, there is an alternative way, and majority of the employers will post an alternative way to connect with them. So either they will provide an email address or a direct phone line that you can call, and when that happens, you can just simply, if you're calling them like, hi, my name is Michelle, thank you for accepting me for the chat. Unfortunately, I'm having some issues logging into the link that you have provided. Will it be okay for us to have a conversation here in the phone? And you know what, they're more than happy to accommodate that. If for some reason you don't have a phone at the moment, then you can simply email them, like, again, same thing. Hello, unfortunately, this is Michelle, and I'm having some issues connecting right now. Will it be okay to have a conversation through this email? And most likely, since the session is happening at the moment, most likely the employer will say, you know what, let's continue our chat, our communication through this email thread, and they might get back to you after the event or so, and that will be fine. Then you can move along to a different employer and you can speak with the other employer, but at least you still was able to make that connection, and that's really what's important, right? Just having that connection with that representative, especially if you're very much interested in either working or volunteering for them. So, or you just really want to learn more about their organization. So don't worry, everyone. There is a there is a way. Or, and if you are having, and then if you feel like you're having multiple issues, and this is just one employer, but then if you're having successive issues with different employers, then maybe hop onto the student help desk that we mentioned earlier, and we can see what's happening, and let's see if there might be some solution that we can come up with, so that you'll be able to actually do and get that one-on-one private chat with the employer. Does that sound okay, everyone? Thumbs up is fine, but yeah. Okay, so and yeah, so again, you'll have a conversation here, and then Chantal has some great tips in terms of like actually how to get about with with speaking with representatives, some questions you might ask during the session. So make sure to stay tuned on that part two of our webinars. But without but then in any case, so once you're done with the conversation, the employer most likely will say thank you for we'll make sure to keep in touch with you. Or if you're applying for a position, most likely they will direct you to a link to apply for their position. So that's something maybe you can do afterwards as well. But once you leave the link, you can either end the chat or the employer will end the chat on their end. And when that has happened, so as you can see, the employer has ended the chat. This is the prompt that you will see, and you just close that, and you will be prompted to your video chat tab and then have a chat summary, so you can actually write notes. And if you really really like this and like, okay, I really want to apply for this position, you can you know so that you don't forget the conversation. Maybe have some notes like, oh, we talked about this and that. Oh, he like what he said something about this and everything. Want to follow up on follow up and apply for for the position. Link, maybe add the link here. I'll just do keepu.ca here. But there you go. So you can actually write notes, and this will be something that you'll be able to access anytime, even after the event. So it's pretty nice. And just click submit. And there you go. And this is where all your video chat summary will be available. So when you click that, you'll see again, there you go, the notes available, the email address of the representative that you speak with. So there's that second point of contact now that you can use. So you now have their email address to follow up and connect and maybe add them onto their LinkedIn accounts and so forth. So there's a lot of even after the event, you most definitely can still have a connection with the representative that you speak with. So take advantage of that. And yeah, so that's pretty much how the event and how to navigate the virtual platform is. It's hopefully it's fairly simple. If you do have any other questions, you know what, maybe we can open up a Q&A later and we can answer that. But without further ado, I think I'll just pass it on to Chantal so that she can go ahead and speak with you some tips on how to really put your best foot forward on the day off. And yeah. Hey, Chantal, pass it to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Michelle. That was incredibly thorough. Really, I actually learned quite a bit. So thank you very much for that. And so part 2 of this, we're going to take it over to my slideshow, and just bear with me while I open that up. Here we go. Okay, so part 2, navigating the virtual job fair. Thank you again, everyone, for coming back. This is the 4th and final webinar in the Get Ready, Get Hired series. So just a brief overview. This is for anyone who is new today and hasn't been coming to the series. Just quickly to let you know about the services that the Career Development Center offers you. We have one-on-one career advising available to you through Advisor Connect, resume reviews where you can upload your resume for edits. Of course, through Career Connection, which you're already familiar with because you're here already. But of course, there's exclusive job postings and workshops and incredible resources there for you. Virtual drop-ins on Tuesdays 2 to 3 and Thursdays 10 till 12. And then, of course, the Career Development Center, your Career Development Center, hosts job fairs and career fairs. So, of course, that brings us to next week's Get Ready, Get Hired, virtual job and volunteer fair. And then tomorrow we have Wrestlemania. This is where you can have your resume critiqued in real time. So there we go. Okay, so I'll be very briefly covering this. It's going to be a little bit of overlap with Michelle's excellent demonstration. But what to do before. So you're in the before time right now. So number 1, you've joined an information session, which is fantastic, super proactive of you. Next up, how to navigate during, and then the video chat feature. I'm going to very briefly cover that because Michelle did such a great job there. And then what to do after the job fair. So keep that momentum going, and of course, opening it up for any questions that you might have. Okay, so again, researching companies and representatives. As you saw from Michelle's presentation, you can see a bio, a summary of the company, and perhaps even the representative that will be attending the Get Ready, Get Hired job fair. But take it a step further. Go, of course, on their website, look them up on LinkedIn, get an idea. This is if it's a little bit more of a professional level, get an idea for the types of people that work there through LinkedIn. But you can also, click on the news tab under Google, and you'll get more information apart from their website about this company. That also includes reviewing job postings. So as Michelle already pointed out, they might have job postings on Career Connection, which will automatically be linked to the profile of that particular company. But if they don't, have a look on their website. And if they don't really have anything there either, feel free to contact them and just let them know. Say, hey, listen, I know that you're planning on attending the Get Ready, Get Hired fair. I'm really looking forward to meeting with you. Wondering if you can give me an idea of some of the jobs that you're going to be looking to fill. They've already demonstrated that they're interested in engaging with candidates, with job seekers by attending a job fair. So I'd say, why not, right? Why not reach out and just ask them a couple of questions like that? Make sure your setup is good. By now, your setup is probably fantastic, right? But make sure that you're sitting in a good place that has good Wi-Fi. It's relatively quiet. All the stuff you already know about. I'm not going to cover that too much. We spoke a little bit about this when I asked Michelle if you can upload more than one resume. I honestly didn't know the answer to that question when I asked it, but you do want to make sure that you have your uploaded kind of resume prepared. So that's a little bit more general, isn't it? Because if it's only the one for perhaps 2 or more employers. And then, of course, make sure you have your customized resumes ready to go based on what you know about the company and the position, right? So if you attended the resume workshop on Monday, you have a pretty good idea of how to customize your resume for them. So make sure you have a few customized resumes saved as well. Pick a spot and pick an outfit. So again, just make sure that your spot is very well lit, quiet, and make sure that you pick an outfit that you feel good in. It's very much like a job interview, right? So you want it to be something that you feel really good in, that you're comfortable in. Leave the fluffy slippers for another day. You kind of want that. You want that mentality that you're in a professional meeting, even though it is online. Prepare answers to questions, right? Just in case it does turn into kind of a mini interview, have some good answers prepared to what you deem to be pretty standard job interview questions, right? So first, they'll probably ask you to tell them a little bit about yourself. So you want to make sure that you put together a nice condensed version of that answer. Why do you want to work for this company? Pretty typical question that they might ask you in a preliminary interview as well. What kind of skills do you have, or do you have any similar experience? Things like that. Okay, so the event itself, starts at 12. Hope I'm correct in saying that. Yes, it's 12. So the event itself starts at 12. Arrive on time. In fact, log in a little bit early. And Michelle already spoke about joining a queue. So joining a queue or joining a line would be to have a one-on-one conversation with an employer. And then you can also join to chat as a group. So we'll talk a little bit about the difference between the two there. It's pretty guaranteed that when you go into a queue, into a one-on-one chat with an employer, it's probably going to be that question that they ask you, right? So tell us a little bit about who you are. And for you might remember back in Tuesday's interview workshop, you want to talk a little bit about your work experience, right? Your primary skill set, something in particular that you learned about yourself. For example, if you're applying for a position that's front-facing customer service, You might want to talk about the fact that you discovered that you really enjoy working in a front-facing customer service role, meeting people from, different backgrounds and so forth. So, again, you want to connect that back to the employer. Let them know, of course, what you're studying at KPU or what you've studied at KPU, program any relevant courses if there happen to be any for that particular employer. You might want to talk about that. And again, you can also talk about what you learned about yourself as a student, right? And I learned from myself that I have incredible time management skills because, right? And then, of course, finish off with a little bit about you. Tell us about yourself. You're not just work and education, right? You're also a human being with experiences. And so, if you can, try to connect back with them, make a connection perhaps between the company values and your values. But by all means, just tell them a little bit, something that's relatively interesting about you. Maybe you can speak more than 3 languages or whatever it might be. So make sure to tell them a little bit about you as well. Okay, so when you are, having a one-on-one, and in fact, even if you're in a group information session or a group chat, you do want to think interview, even though it might be a very brief interview. This might actually turn into a brief interview. It could even turn into a job offer, depending on, what the employers are looking for and so forth. Or it could certainly turn into an invitation to have more of a formal interview. So think interview, right? So think back to Tuesday's webinar, in terms of dressing the part and preparing, for professional answers. Same thing, right? You want to look directly into the camera so that they feel as though you're speaking directly to them. Make sure that I would avoid using your cell phone if you can. If you can't, well, then that's, then you need to deal with that. But just make sure that you have it on a stable, on some kind of stand so that it's not, you're not walking around, moving around or anything, but it's relatively stable. And then that would be fine, of course. But if you can, I would suggest a laptop or a tablet that's propped up pretty securely as well. Again, simple backdrop, good lighting, no backlighting, dress professionally, and have your resume on hand. So you're going to have some saved as files, but you're also going to want to maybe have reference to it. So either on your screen or beside you printed out so that you can quickly refer to that to answer questions. And then, deciding, or, do they have the option to do group and one-on-one? If so, that's something you want to think about. My answer to you would be both, right? So perhaps while you're waiting for a one-on-one chat with a company, or with an employer, or with that employer, also join the group option as well, right? So sign on while you're waiting for a one-on-one. And this is a great opportunity for you just to get some general information. You might get to pick up on what other attendees are asking or inquiring about. And you might also be able to kind of borrow some information that you hear in that group discussion as well. So, observe as much as you can and take in as much information as you can, so that might help you when it comes time to your one-on-one meeting. Now, of course, your one-on-one meeting, this is your opportunity to develop rapport with the employer, with the representative. So you become, of course, much more memorable apart from a group if you're able to have a one-on-one. And then that's where you can, of course, discuss a specific role and your match to it, but you can also ask them specific questions. I mean, hopefully you do in the group as well. If you're thinking about applying to this company, find out about their application process, find out about their hiring process, ask those questions. This will help your future self out. So here's some questions that you might want to ask them. So again, keeping in mind that, we have limited time, perhaps about 10 minutes with each representative, but it's a good idea, of course, to ask them information about the role or the company. Go beyond what's on the website, right? So if the information's already on the website, don't waste that valuable time talking about information that's already there. Perhaps you want to know about their own experience with the company, right? So their own experience, you might find it might be really interesting for you to find out that they too started out perhaps in an entry-level position and then worked their way up. This tells you a lot about the company values and how they take care of their employees. This third one here, super, super important. Like I said, help your future self out by asking about the hiring process, the application process, their applicant tracking system, if they use one, and if they do, what kind of ATS system is it? So does it primarily shortlist candidates based on keywords? Does it shortlist candidates based on the preliminary questions that it asks, before it even lets you upload your resume? By location, what kind of ATS system do they have? And then, of course, you want to ask them about next steps, right? So, after the hiring fair, if you do decide to apply for the position, what would be the best route to take, and so forth and so on. Okay, so Michelle was really great in identifying that chat summary section. So review any conversation that you had perhaps outside of the system via email, maybe, but it's most likely going to be anything you write in that chat summary. Make sure to use that feature because it can really remind you of some really important details. Send a thank you note to them, send a thank you email. Nothing particularly fancy. Go back to Tuesday's interview webinar where I discuss sending thank you notes, within 24 hours or so of the event. And then it's up to you to decide, do you want to apply? You now have some super excellent intel, right? You have insider information that you developed from that one-on-one or even from that group conversation. And so hopefully that's given you some really good insight in terms of whether or not this is a good match for you. And then follow up. If you're going to apply, let them know you're going to apply, right? And let them know why you've decided that you're going to apply for that company. I had a really great conversation with you, Beth. It was particularly interesting when I found out about your own career pathway with ABC Corporation, starting out as a customer service representative and now moving into recruitment. That's really exciting news for me. So I'm looking forward to applying to the customer service representative position that I see posted on your site. Something along those lines, very brief in an email. Just let them know, kind of prompt them that they were an excellent representative for the company and you're really, that encouraged you to apply. Finally, believe in yourself. You're awesome. You don't need me telling you that, but you're here. Most of you have been here for the entire series, so you're really taking a proactive approach to your job search and career development. So believe in yourself and you'll do great. Any questions? So we're at about 10 minutes before 1.
Awesome. So we have a question here from Bradley. How many people should we try and talk to throughout the career fair?
Bradley, you always have the best questions. Thanks for asking this question. I would say go through it and, be strategic initially. You do have an idea of who's going to be attending. So it's a good idea for you to kind of put it in order of preference of yourself. And then as soon as you log in that day, start joining the queues for those particular companies. But, on average, you have, if you're able to attend from 12 till 3, you have that amount of time to, to potentially speak to as many employers as you can for on average about 10 minutes. So you might be able to squeeze in a few, but try to do it in order of your own preference, right?
Awesome. Then we have a question from Ethan. What's the best way to stand out during a group interview?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I can certainly respect that for some people out there that have a preference for introversion. This group interviews could be a little bit more challenging. But in that case, when you're having when you're in a group kind of environment, just listen initially. I think that would be my first suggestion to you is take the opportunity to listen, because a lot of people will be, wanting the floor, right? They'll be wanting to kind of shout out their question and so forth, so that they become memorable to the employer. But what might happen in that kind of situation is they're asking questions that are very likely already known. They're not particularly creative. So I suggest that you kind of sit back and listen first and develop questions from there, so that when you do decide to ask a question, it's one that's really well thought out, and that will make you a little bit more memorable as well. Don't forget to follow up afterwards too, right? A lot of people won't do that. So make sure that you follow up with that particular person that was hosting the group session. Be specific about the information that they presented during that group presentation, and that'll help you stand out a little bit as well.
Awesome. And then there's also just another question from Ethan here. Is it a good idea to ask the employer about how that role opened up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, I would for sure. I would, basically the way that it works when we see a job posting, or when there's an available opportunity, it happens from one of two ways, right? There's either growth within the company, and they're doing so well that they need to fill this newly developed position, or someone left for whatever reason. So you can certainly ask that question, but you might want to phrase it around that. I'm just wondering if, I've done a little bit of research about AB Sud Corporation, and I see that you're really growing as a company. Is this a newly developed position, or are you looking to, to fill it for someone who's left? So yes, long story short, yes.
Awesome. And then another question coming from Bradley here, maybe concerning either you or Michelle. Will there be an email sent out for tomorrow's Wrestlemania?
Yes. For those who have already RSVP'd and registered, we will send a calendar invite similar to what we have been doing for the past webinar. So stay tuned on that. We'll send something hopefully right after the session today. I do have something I want to point out in terms of the event, particularly for the employer status. So for those who are attending on the day of and joining queues, you might find that some employer might not be available for the queue. Similar to that you can update your status whether you're online, busy, or offline. Employers also have that option. So maybe they might go to a washroom break and they'll set themselves up as either busy, or maybe there's a switch up on representatives speaking on behalf of the organization, and they might go offline, and that might prompt the queue button not available for the organization. So don't be alarmed if you're like, oh, I can't join the queue or whatsoever. I would suggest maybe, okay, move along with other employers first, and then just go back again and see if the button is available. If it's really not, probably there might be some technical issues with the employer on that end. Again, please let us know, so that way we can go to the student help desk, so that way we can check what's happening on the employer side and see what's going on, and get that join queue available again. So I just want to give that quick tip for everyone attending.
Awesome. Are there any other questions for either Chantel or Michelle? Just wait here for a second. There's a question from Hira. How often will the job fairs occur? And is it a once-a-year thing?
I think I can answer that. So we typically have two big fair that we host. throughout the year. The Get Ready Get Hired virtual job and volunteer fair typically happens during September, and majority of the positions available usually are like entry level or part-time positions, or if not actual entry level positions for organizations. But we also have the big career day that happens every March. I believe next year there will be it will be either the first week or the second week. If we are still finalizing the dates for career day, so but tentatively it will be on March, and that would be perfect for those, let's say, graduating or really open for everyone, students and alumni. So it's twice a week for the big fair. We sometimes do partner with other departments for a very specialized, very specific fair, like a trades fair or brewery fair, or if horticulture fair, depending on the partnership we make with other departments. So and that's another thing. But for our team, it's two two big fairs every year.
Awesome. So if there aren't any more questions, just want to remind you guys that this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel shortly after this. I'm just finalizing the third webinar right now, and I'll put the fourth one up at the end of the day today. So I'll just give a big thank you to Chantal and Michelle for the great presentations today.
Thank you, everyone. Most
Yeah,
appreciated. I see a hand up. I see a hand up there.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi there.
I just want to know the work study jobs are for international students.
Sorry, work study jobs?
Yeah, there is job postings from KPU site regarding work study on-campus jobs. Are those
Okay.
jobs for international students or for domestic students?
Okay, Michelle, I'll let you talk a little bit about the work study.
No worries, no worries. Shubham, unfortunately, the work study, there is a criteria set for that because it is subsidized by the Student Awards and Financial Assistance Office. It's government funded, so only domestic students are eligible for the work study student assistant position. But for international students, if you do want to work on campus, there is another one, which is a student assistant, which is the regular student assistant positions, and those are available for both domestic and international students. Postings typically are posted throughout the year, depending really on the availability that there is with the departments. So if there are any, I would really suggest, just going in to Career Connection regularly and checking if there's any new student assistant positions available. And definitely you can apply for these positions as an international student.
Thank you.
No worries.
Well, thank you, everyone, especially all of you that have managed to come for all 4 of the webinars. But even if you didn't manage to make it, I appreciate you all being here and joining us today. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you at next week's Get Ready, Get Hired Job and Volunteer Fair.
Awesome. Thank you too.